Radio has powerful symbolic implications for Canadian language politics and debates on Canadian identity. In the United States, rappers choose to rap in English, Spanish, or Spanglish, depending on their own backgrounds and their intended audience. Censorship. Hip-hop music has been censored on radio and TV due to the explicit lyrics of certain genres. Many songs have been criticized for anti-establishment and sometimes violent messages. The use of profanity as well as graphic depictions of violence and sex in hip-hop music videos and songs makes it hard to broadcast on television stations such as MTV, in music video form, and on radio. As a result, many hip-hop recordings are broadcast in censored form, with offending language bleeped or blanked out of the soundtrack, or replaced with clean lyrics. The result, which sometimes renders the remaining lyrics unintelligible or contradictory to the original recording, has become almost as widely identified with the genre as any other aspect of the music, and has been parodied in films such as Austin Powers in Goldmember, in which Mike Myers' character Dr. Evil, performing in a parody of a hip-hop music video. Hard Knock Life by Jay-Z, performs an entire verse that is blanked out. In 1995, Roger Ebert wrote, "Rap has a bad reputation in white circles, where many people believe it consists of obscene and violent, anti-white and anti-female guttural. Some of it does. Most does not. Most white listeners don't care, they hear black voices in a litany of discontent, and tune out. Yet rap plays the same role today as Bob Dylan did in 1960. Giving voice to the hopes and angers of a generation, and a lot of rap is powerful writing." In 1990, Luther Campbell and his group 2 Live Crew filed a lawsuit against Broward County Sheriff Nick Navarro, because Navarro wanted to prosecute stores that sold the group's album as nasty as they wanna be because of its obscene and vulgar lyrics. In June 1990, a U.S. District Court judge labeled the album obscene and illegal to sell. However, in 1992, the United States Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit overturned the obscenity ruling from Judge Gonzalez, and the Supreme Court of the United States refused to hear Broward County's appeal. Professor Louis Gates testified on behalf of the 2 Live crew, arguing that the material that the county alleged was profane actually had important roots in African American vernacular, games, and literary traditions and should be protected. Gangsta rap is a subgenre of hip-hop that reflects the violent culture of inner-city American black youths. The genre was pioneered in the mid-1980s by rappers such as Schoolie D and Ice-T, and was popularized in the later part of the 1980s by groups such as NWA. Ice-T released 6 in the Mornin', which is often regarded as the first gangsta rap song, in 1986. After the national attention that Ice-T and NWA created in the late 1980s and early 1990s, gangsta rap became the most commercially lucrative subgenre of hip-hop. NWA is the group most frequently associated with the founding of gangsta rap. Their lyrics were more violent, openly confrontational, and shocking than those of established rap acts, featuring incessant profanity and, controversially, use of the word nigga. These lyrics were placed over rough, rock guitar-driven beats, contributing to the music's hard-edged feel. The first blockbuster gangsta rap album was NWA's Straight Outta Compton, released in 1988. Straight Outta Compton would establish West Coast hip-hop as a vital genre, and establish Los Angeles as a legitimate rival to hip-hop's longtime capital, New York City. Straight Outta Compton sparked the first major controversy regarding hip-hop lyrics when their song Fuck the Police earned a letter from FBI Assistant Director Milt Ulrich, strongly expressing law enforcement's resentment of the song. Controversy surrounded Ice-T's song Cop Killer from the album Body Count. The song was intended to speak from the Viewpoint of a criminal getting revenge on racist, brutal cops. Ice-T's rock song infuriated government officials. The National Rifle Association and various police advocacy groups. Consequently, Time Warner Music refused to release Ice-T's upcoming album Home Invasion because of the controversy surrounding Cop Killer. Ice-T suggested that the furor over the song was an overreaction, telling journalist Chuck Phillips they've done movies about nurse killers and teacher killers and student killers. Actor Arnold Schwarzenegger blew away dozens of cops as the Terminator. But I don't hear anybody complaining about that. Ice-T suggested to Phillips that the misunderstanding of Cop Killer and the attempts to censor it had racial overtones. The Supreme Court says it's okay for a white man to burn a cross in public. But nobody wants a black man to write a record about a cop killer. The White House administrations of both George Bush Sr. and Bill Clinton criticized the genre. The reason why rap is under attack is because it exposes all the contradictions of American culture. What started out as an underground art form has become a vehicle to expose a lot of critical issues that are not usually discussed in American politics. The problem here is that the White House and wannabes like Bill Clinton represent a political system that never intends to deal with inner-city urban chaos, Sister Soulja told The Times. Until its discontinuation on July 8, 2006, BET ran a late-night segment titled BET, Uncut, to air nearly uncensored videos. The show was exemplified by music videos such as Tip Drill by Nelly, which was criticized for what many viewed as an exploitative depiction of women, particularly images of a man swiping a credit card between a stripper's buttocks. Public Enemy's Gotta Give the Peeps What They Need was censored on MTV, removing the words Free Mamiya. After the attack on the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001, Oakland, California group The Coup was under fire for the cover art on their album Party Music, which featured the group's two members holding a guitar tuner and two sticks. As the Twin Towers exploded behind them despite the fact that it was created months before the actual event. The group, having politically radical and Marxist lyrical content, said the cover meant to symbolize the destruction of capitalism. Their record label pulled the album until a new cover could be designed. Product placement and endorsements. Critics such as Businessweek's David Kiley argue that the discussion of products within hip-hop culture may actually be the result of undisclosed product placement deals. Such critics allege that shilling or product placement takes place in commercial rap music, and that lyrical references to products are actually paid endorsements. In 2005, a proposed plan by McDonald's to pay rappers to advertise McDonald's products in their music was leaked to the press. After Russell Simmons made a deal with Courvoisier to promote the brand among hip-hop fans, Busta Rhymes recorded the song past the Courvoisier. Simmons insists that no money. The symbiotic relationship has also stretched to include car manufacturers, clothing designers and sneaker companies, and many other companies have used the hip-hop community to make their name or to give them credibility. One such beneficiary was Jacob the Jeweler, a diamond merchant from New York. Jacob Arabo's clientele included Sean Combs, Lil Kim and Nas. He created jewelry pieces from precious metals that were heavily loaded with diamond and gemstones. As his name was mentioned in the song lyrics of his hip-hop customers, his profile quickly rose. Arabo expanded his brand to include gem-encrusted watches that retail for hundreds of thousands of dollars, gaining so much attention that Cartier filed a trademark infringement lawsuit against him for putting diamonds on the faces of their watches and reselling them without permission. Arabo's profile increased steadily until his June 2006 arrest by the FBI on money laundering charges. While some brands welcomed the support of the hip-hop community, one brand that did not was Crystal champagne maker Louis Roederer. A 2006 article from The Economist magazine featured remarks from managing director Frederick Cruzad about whether the brand's identification with rap stars could affect their company negatively. His answer was dismissive. "That's a good question, but what can we do? We can't forbid people from buying it. I'm sure Dom Perignon or Krug Champagne would be delighted to have their business." In retaliation, many hip-hop icons such as Jay-Z and Sean Combs, who previously included references to Chris, ceased all mentions and purchases of the champagne. 50 Cent's deal with Vitamin Water, Dr. Dre's promotion of his Beats by Dr. Dre headphone line and Drive Pepper, and Drake's commercial with Sprite are successful deals, although product placement deals were not popular. In the 1980s, MC Hammer was an early innovator in this type of strategy. With merchandise such as dolls, commercials for soft drinks and numerous television show appearances, Hammer began the trend of rap artists being accepted as mainstream pitch people for brands. Media. Hip-hop culture has had extensive coverage in the media, especially in relation to television. There have been a number of television shows devoted to or about hip-hop, including in Europe, HIPHOP in 1984. For many years, that was the only television channel likely to play hip-hop, but in recent years when the channels VH1 and MTV have added a significant amount of hip-hop to their playlist. Run DMC became the first African-American group to appear on MTV. With the emergence of the Internet, a number of online sites began to offer hip-hop related video content. Magazines. Hip-hop magazines describe hip-hop's culture, including information about rappers and MCs, new hip-hop music, concerts, events, fashion and history. The first hip-hop publication, the Hip-Hop Hit List, was published in the 1980s. It contained the first rap music record chart. It was put out by two brothers from Newark, New Jersey, Vincent and Charles Carroll, who was also in a hip-hop group known as the Nasty Boys. They knew the art form very well and noticed the need for a hip-hop magazine. DJs and rappers did not have a way to learn about rap music styles and labels. The periodical began as the first rap record chart and tip sheet for DJs and was distributed through national record pools and record stores throughout the New York City tri-state area. One of the founding publishers, Charles Carroll, noted, "Back then, all DJs came into New York City to buy their records, but most of them did not know what was hot enough to spend money on, so we charted it." Jay Burnett became Vincent Carroll's partner and played an instrumental role in its later development. New York tourists from abroad took the publication back home with them to other countries to share it, creating worldwide interest in the culture and new art form. It had a printed distribution of 50,000, a circulation rate of 200,000 with well over 25,000 subscribers. The Hip-Hop Hit List was also the first to define hip-hop as a culture, introducing the many aspects of the art form such as fashion, music, dance, the arts and most importantly the language. For instance, on the cover the headliner included the tag "All literature was produced to meet street comprehension," which proved their loyalty not only to the culture but also to the streets. Most interviews were written verbatim, which included their innovative broken English style of writing. Some of the early charts were written in the graffiti format tag style but was made legible enough for the masses. The Carroll brothers were also consultants to the many record companies who had no idea how to market hip-hop music. Vincent Carroll, the magazine's creator-publisher, went on to become a huge source for marketing and promoting the culture of hip-hop, starting Blow Up Media, the first hip-hop marketing firm with offices in NYC's Tribeca district. At the age of 21, Vincent employed a staff of 15 and assisted in launching some of the culture's biggest and Brightest Stars, The Fugees, Nelly, The Outsiders, featuring Eminem and many more. Later other publications spawned up, including Hip Hop Connection, Double XL, Scratch, The Source, and Vibe. Many individual cities have also produced their own local hip-hop newsletters, while hip-hop magazines with national distribution are found in a few other countries. The 21st century also ushered in the rise of online media, and hip-hop fan sites now offer comprehensive hip-hop coverage on a daily basis. Fashion, clothing, hair and other styles have been a big part of hip-hop's social and cultural impact since the 1970s. Although the styles have changed over the decades, distinctive urban apparel and looks have been an important way for rappers, breakdancers and other hip-hop community members to express themselves. As the hip-hop music genre's popularity increased, so did the effect of its fashion. While there were early items synonymous with hip-hop that crossed over into the mainstream culture, like Run DMC's affinity for Adidas or the Wu-Tang Clan's championing of Clark's Wallabies, it wasn't until its commercial peak that hip-hop fashion became influential. Starting in the mid to late 1990s, hip-hop culture embraced some major designers and established a new connection with classic fashion. Brands such as Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger all tapped into hip-hop culture and gave very little in return. Moving into the new millennium, hip-hop fashion consisted of baggy shirts, jeans, and jerseys. As names like Pharrell and Jay-Z started their own clothing lines and still others like Kanye West linked up with designers like Louis Vuitton, the clothes got tighter, more classically fashionable, and expensive. As hip-hop has seen a shift in the means by which its artists express their masculinity, from violence and intimidation to wealth flaunting and entrepreneurship, it has also seen the emergence of rapper branding. The modern-day hip-hop artist is no longer limited to music serving as their sole occupation or source of income. By the early 1990s, major apparel companies had realized the economic potential of tapping into hip-hop culture. Tommy Hilfiger was one of the first major fashion designer who actively courted rappers as a way of promoting his street wear. By joining forces, the artist and the corporation are able to jointly benefit from each other's resources. Hip-hop artists are trendsetters and taste makers. Their fans range from minority groups who can relate to their professed struggles to majority groups who cannot truly relate but like to consume the fantasy of living a more masculine life. The rappers provide the cool, hip factor while the corporations deliver the product, advertising, and financial assets. Tommy Hilfiger, one of the first mainstream designers to actively court rappers as a way of promoting his streetwear, serves a prototypical example of the hip-hip fashion collaborations. In exchange for giving artists free wardrobes, Hilfiger found its name mentioned in both rhyming verses of rap songs and their shout-out lyrics, in which rap artists chant out thanks to friends and sponsors for their support. Hilfiger's success convinced other large mainstream American fashion design companies, like Ralph Lauren and Calvin Klein, to tailor lines to the lucrative market of hip-hop artists and fans. Artists now use brands as a means of supplemental income to their music or are creating and expanding their own brands that become their primary source of income. As Harry Elam explains, there has been a movement from the incorporation and redefinition of existing trends to actually designing and marketing products as hip-hop fashion. Diversification. Hip-hop music has spawned dozens of subgenres which incorporate hip-hop music production approaches, such as sampling, creating beats, or rapping. The diversification process stems from the appropriation of hip-hop culture by other ethnic groups. There are many varying social influences that affect hip-hop's message in different nations. It is frequently used as a musical response to perceived political and/or social injustices. In South Africa, the largest form of hip-hop is called Kwaito, which has had a growth similar to American hip-hop. Kwaito is a direct reflection of a post-apartheid South Africa and is a voice for the voiceless, a term that U.S. hip-hop is often referred to. Kwaito is even perceived as a lifestyle, encompassing many aspects of life, including language and fashion. Kwaito is a political and party-driven genre, as performers use the music to express their political views, and also to express their desire to have a good time. Kwaito is a music that came from a once hated and oppressed people, but it is now sweeping the nation. The main consumers of Kwaito are adolescents, and half of the South African population is under 21. Some of the large Kwaito artists have sold more than 100,000 albums, and in an industry where 25,000 albums sold is considered a gold record, those are impressive numbers. Kwaito allows the participation and creative engagement of otherwise socially excluded peoples in the generation of popular media. South African hip-hop is more diverse lately, and there are hip-hop acts in South Africa that have made an impact and continue making impact worldwide. These include Tumi, Ben Sharpa, Hip-Hop Pansela, Tuksanganga. In Jamaica, the sounds of hip-hop are derived from American and Jamaican influences. Jamaican hip-hop is defined both through dance hall and reggae music. Jamaican Kool Herc brought the sound systems, technology, and techniques of reggae music to New York during the 1970s. Jamaican hip-hop artists often rap in both Brooklyn and Jamaican accents. Jamaican hip-hop's subject matter is often influenced by outside and internal forces. Outside forces such as the bling-bling era of today's modern hip-hop, and internal influences coming from the use of anti-colonialism and marijuana or ganja references which Rastafarians believe bring them closer to God. Author Wayne Marshall argues that hip-hop, as with any number of African American cultural forms before it, offers a range of compelling and contradictory significations to Jamaican artists and audiences. From modern blackness to foreign mind, transnational cosmopolitanism to militant Pan-Africanism, radical remixology to outright mimicry. Hip-hop in Jamaica embodies the myriad ways that Jamaicans embrace, reject, and incorporate foreign yet familiar forms. In the developing world, hip-hop has made a considerable impact in the social context. Despite the lack of resources, hip-hop has made considerable inroads. Due to limited funds, hip-hop artists are forced to use very basic tools, and even graffiti, an important aspect of the hip-hop culture, is constrained due to its unavailability to the average person. Hip-hop has begun making inroads with more than black artists. There are a number of other minority artists who are taking center stage as many first-generation minority children come of age. One example is rapper Aquafina, an Asian American, who raps about being Asian as well as being female. She, like many others, use rap to express her experiences as a minority, not necessarily to unite minorities together but to tell her story. Many hip-hop artists that make it out of the developing world come to places like the United States in hopes of improving their situations. Maya Arul Pragasam, aka MIA, is a Sri Lanka-born Tamil hip-hop artist in this situation. She claims, "I'm just trying to build some sort of bridge, I'm trying to create a third place, somewhere in between the developed world and the developing world." Another music artist using hip-hop to provide a positive message to young Africans is Emmanuel Jal, who is a former child soldier from South Sudan. Jal is one of the few South Sudanese music artists to have broken through on an international level with his unique form of hip-hop and a positive message in his lyrics. Jal has attracted the attention of mainstream media and academics with his story and use of hip-hop as a healing medium for war-afflicted people in Africa, and has also been sought out for the international lecture circuit with major talks at popular talk fests like TED. Education. Scholars argue that hip-hop can have an empowering effect on youth, while there is misogyny, violence, and drug use in rap music videos and lyrics, hip-hop also displays many positive themes of self-reliance, resilience, and self-esteem. These messages can be inspiring for a youth living in poverty. A lot of rap songs contain references to strengthening the African American community, promoting social causes. Social workers have used hip-hop to build a relationship with at-risk youth and develop a deeper connection with the child. Hip-hop has the potential to be taught as a way of helping people see the world more critically, be it through forms of writing, creating music, or social activism. The lyrics of hip-hop have been used to learn about literary devices such as metaphor, imagery, irony, tone, theme, motif, plot, and point of view. Organizations and facilities are providing spaces and programs for communities to explore making and learning about hip-hop. An example is the INP Labs in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. Many dance studios and colleges now offer lessons in hip-hop alongside tap and ballet, as well as KRS-One teaching hip-hop lectures at Harvard University. Hip-hop producer Ninth Wonder and former rapper-actor Christopher Play Martin from hip-hop group Kid and Play have taught hip-hop history classes at North Carolina Central University, and Ninth Wonder has also taught a hip-hop sampling soul class at Duke University. In 2007, the Cornell University Library established a hip-hop collection to collect and make accessible the historical artifacts of hip-hop culture and to ensure their preservation for future generations. TRXV Stylards, capital architect and founder of the Stylards Hip-Hop Network and Zulu North, dedicating much time towards spreading deep awareness of hip-hop history and its Bronx roots to those who have been lost in the current state and image of hip-hop. The Stylards Network have been teaching all hip-hop elements to all races from the early 1990s and continue to promote hip-hop as a social and educational tool. The Stylards have an esoteric element to their approach. On the World Wide Web, CanWeb TV is the first video streaming channel ever to allow you to stream live video from any home or office computer. CanWeb competed with industry giants such as Yahoo and QuickTime/Apple. The first ever online broadcast interview was with the Stylards in Canada. The topic of discussion was hip-hop and its true potential, values and philosophy. In hip-hop culture, it is considered essential to keep it real or to be authentic to the lived experiences of people from disadvantaged neighborhoods, the ghetto. Despite the fact that hip-hop artists typically use imagined scenarios and fictionalized stories in their raps, the culture demands that they act as if all their lyrics are true or potentially true. Because of this, lyrics of rap songs have often been treated as confessions to a number of violent crimes in the United States. It is also considered to be the duty of rappers and other hip-hop artists, DJs, dancers, to represent their city and neighborhood. This demands being proud of being from disadvantaged cities, neighborhoods that have traditionally been a source of shame, and glorifying them in lyrics and graffiti. This has potentially been one of the ways that hip-hop has become regarded as a local rather than foreign genre of music in so many countries around the world in just a few decades. Nevertheless, sampling and borrowing from a number of genres and places is also a part of the hip-hop milieu, and an album like the surprise hit Kala by Anglo-Tamil rapper MIA was recorded in locations all across the world and features sounds from a different country on every track. Authenticity. Hip-hop music artists and advocates have stated that hip-hop has been an authentic, true and real, African American artistic form and expressive cultural form since its emergence in inner-city Bronx neighborhoods in the 1970s. As well, some music critics, scholars and political commentators have denied hip-hop's authenticity. Advocates who claim hip-hop is an authentic music genre state that it is an ongoing response to the violence and discrimination experienced by Black people in the United States, from the slavery that existed into the 19th century, to the lynchings of the 20th century and the ongoing racial discrimination faced by Blacks. Paul Gilroy and Alexander Wiley state that unlike disco, jazz, R&B, house music, and other genres that were developed in the African American community and which were quickly adopted and then increasingly controlled by white music industry executives, hip-hop has remained largely controlled by African American artists, producers and executives. In his book, Phonographies, Wiley describes the political and cultural affiliations that hip-hop music enables. In contrast, Greg Tate states that the market-driven, commodity form of commercial hip-hop has uprooted the genre from the celebration of African American culture and the messages of protest that predominated in its early forms. Tate states that the commodification and commercialization of hip-hop culture undermines the dynamism of the genre for African American communities. These two dissenting understandings of hip-hop's scope and influence frame debates that revolve around hip-hop's possession of or lack of authenticity. Anticipating the market arguments of Tate and others, both Gilroy and Wiley assert that hip-hop has always had a different function than Western popular music as a whole, a function that exceeds the constraints of market capitalism. Wiley notes, popular music, generally in the form of recordings, has and still continues to function as one of the main channels of communication between the different geographical and cultural points in the African diaspora, allowing artists to articulate and perform their diasporic citizenship to international audiences and establish conversations with other diasporic communities. For Paul Gilroy, hip-hop proves an outlet of articulation and a sonic space in which African Americans can exert control and influence that they often lack in other socio-political and economic domains. In Phonographies, Wiley explains how new sound technologies used in hip-hop encourage diasporic citizenship and African American cultural and political activities. Gilroy states that the power of hip-hop music lies in developing Black struggles by communicating information, organizing consciousness, and testing out or deploying individual or collective forms of African American cultural and political actions. In the third chapter of The Black Atlantic, Jewels Brought from Bondage, Black Music and the Politics of Authenticity, Gilroy asserts that these elements influence the production of and the interpretation of Black cultural activities. What Gilroy calls the Black Atlantic music's rituals and traditions are a more expansive way of thinking about African American Blackness, a way that moves beyond contemporary debates around essentialist and anti-essentialist arguments. As such, Gilroy states that music has been and remains a central staging ground for debates over the work, responsibility, and future role of Black cultural and artistic production. Traditional hip-hop versus progressive use. Ever since the over-commercialization of hip-hop occurred between the late 1980s and the mid-1990s, at peak, traditional hip-hop supporters have been in a feud with more progressive hip-hop fans, claiming that they are uneducated towards what they are building, and that they are not only building music that steps further and further away from hip-hop, but causes ignorance and misconceptions between fans of more progressed hip-hop and traditional fans of the hip-hop culture. These views have been narrowed heavily over the past couple of years and have experienced change of views from the traditional side, as well as acceptance towards evolution of hip-hop. However, all of these beliefs seem to still be viewed under very specific sets of morals and ethics. Such as that one does not take themselves away, or deny the true past of hip-hop. Doing such would result in ignorance of the history of hip-hop, and a completely disconnected community of fans who become uncertain as to what truly should be considered hip-hop. Hip-hop is also known to be the music of the oppressed, African Americans, Puerto Ricans and women, and activist-based. Fans of more progressed hip-hop have received both acclaim due to innovation and futuristic views, as well as strong criticism due to lack of proper education and what is felt as a completely changed form of values, rather than evolved. Like most grassroots cultures, hip-hop initially rejected the views and support of the mainstream industry, however eventually learned to be content due to the understanding of what opportunity and voice could be given. The father of hip-hop, DJ Kool Herc, recently criticized the cancelled Netflix series The Get Down due to its lack of viewer response, by calling it the letdown and that legendary hip-hop DJ Grandmaster Flash is Grandmaster Trash. Herc criticized the whole production for their misrepresentations of history and culture. However, he did state that he does support many stars in rap today such as Lil Wayne and Drake. Herc and many other old-school hip-hop legends such as Afrika Bambaataa and Grandmaster Caz originally held views against mainstream rap. However, recent interviews have shown to prove that even they have changed their ways to a certain extent. However, rappers like KRS-One still feel a strong disapproval of the rap industry, especially through mainstream media. In b-boying, most supporters have begun to slowly involve more industry sponsorship through events on the World Boy Series and through the UDEF powered by Silverback Open. Other b-boys have begun to accept using the term breakdance, but only if the term b-boying is too difficult to communicate to the general public. Regardless of such, b-boys and b-girls still exist to showing lack of support to jams and events that they feel represent the culture as a sport, form of entertainment and as well through capitalism. Battle rap as an industry has also been strongly supported by old-school/golden era legends such as Herc, Kid Capri and KRS-One. Commercialization and stereotyping. In 2012, hip-hop and rap pioneer Chuck D, from the group Public Enemy, criticized young hip-hop artists from the 2010s, stating that they have taken a music genre with extensive roots in underground music and turned it into commercialized pop music. In particular, seminal figures in the early underground, politically motivated music, such as Ice-T, have criticized current hip-hop artists for being more concerned with image than substance. Critics have stated that 2010's hip-hop artists are contributing to cultural stereotyping of African American culture and are poser gangsters. Critics have also stated that hip-hop music promotes drug use and violence. Hip-hop has been criticized by rock-centric critics who state that hip-hop is not a true art form and who state that rock and roll music is more authentic. These critics are advocating a viewpoint called rockism, which favors music written and performed by the individual artist, as seen in some famous singer-songwriter-led rock bands, and is against 2000s, decade-era hip-hop, which these critics argue give too large a role to record producers and digital sound recording. Hip-hop is seen as being too violent and explicit, in comparison with rock. Some contend that the criticisms have racial overtones, as these critics deny that hip-hop is an art form and praising rock genres that prominently feature white males. Marginalization of women. The hip-hop music genre and its subculture has been criticized for its gender bias and its negative impacts on women in African American culture. Gangsta rap artists such as Eazy-E, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg have song lyrics that portray women as sex toys, and as people who are inferior to and dependent on men. Between 1987 and 1993, over 400 hip-hop songs had lyrics that described violence toward women, including rape, assault, and murder. These anti-women hip-hop lyrics have led some male listeners to make physical threats toward women, and they have created negative stereotypes of young urban African American women. Hip-hop music promotes masculine hegemony, and it depicts women as individuals who must rely on men. The portrayal of women in hip-hop lyrics and videos tends to be violent, degrading, and highly sexualized. There is a high frequency of songs with lyrics that are demeaning, or depict sexual violence or sexual assault towards women. Videos often portray idealized female bodies and depict women as being the object of male pleasure. Very few female artists have been recognized in hip-hop, and the most popular, successful and influential artists, record producers and music executives are males. Women who are in rap groups, such as Lauryn Hill of the Fugees, tend to have less advantages and opportunities than male artists. Female artists have received little to no recognition in hip-hop. Only one female artist has won Best Rap Album of the Year at the Grammy Awards since the category was added in 1995. In addition, African American female hip-hop artists have been recognized even less in the industry. Homophobia and transphobia. As well, the hip-hop music community has been criticized for its homophobia and transphobia. Hip-hop song lyrics contain offensive, homophobic slurs, most popularly, the pejorative term faggot, and sometimes violent threats towards queer people, such as rapper DMX's Where the Hood At, rapper Eazy-E's Nobody Move, rap group Brand Nubian's Punks Jump Up to Get Beat Down. Many rappers and hip-hop artists have advocated homophobia and/or transphobia. These artists include Ja Rule, who in an interview claimed, "We need to go step to MTV and Viacom, and let's talk about all these fucking shows that they have on MTV that is promoting homosexuality, that my kids can't watch this shit." And rap artist Eric Sermon, who has said publicly, hip-hop will never accept transgender rappers. Until the 2010s, hip-hop music has excluded the lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender, LGBT, community. This has perpetuated a culture in hip-hop that is prejudiced towards queer and trans people, making it a tough culture for queer artists to participate in. Despite this prejudice, some queer, genderqueer rappers and hip-hop artists have become successful and popular in the 2010s. One of the more notable members of the LGBT community in hip-hop is Frank Ocean, who came out in 2012 and has released critically acclaimed albums and won 2 Grammy Awards. Other successful queer hip-hop rap artists include female bisexual rapper Azealia Banks, pansexual androgynous rapper and singer Angel Hayes, lesbian rapper Sia, and genderqueer rapper Mickey Blanco. Legacy. Having its roots in reggae, disco, funk and soul music, hip-hop has since expanded worldwide. Its expansion includes events like Africa Bambaata's 1982 releasing of Planet Rock, which tried to establish a more global harmony. In the 1980s, the British Slick Rick became the first international hip-hop artist not native to America. From the 1980s onward, television made hip-hop global. From Yo! MTV Raps to Public Enemy's World Tour, hip-hop spread to Latin America and became a mainstream culture. Hip-hop has been cut, mixed and adapted as the music spreads to new areas. Early hip-hop by whom? May have reduced inner-city gang violence by replacing physical violence with hip-hop battles of breakdancing, turntablism, rapping and artwork. However, with the emergence of commercial and crime-related gangsta rap during the early 1990s, violence, drugs, weapons, and misogyny were key themes. Socially and politically conscious hip-hop has long been disregarded by mainstream America in favor of its media-baiting sibling, gangsta rap. Alternative hip-hop artists attempt to reflect the original elements of the culture. Artists, groups such as Lupe Fiasco, Immortal Technique, Loki, Brother Ali, Public Enemy, The Roots, Shing O2, J Electronica, Nas, Common, Talib Kweli, Mustaf, Dilated Peoples, Dead Prez, Blacklicious, Jurassic 5, Jeru the Damaja, Kendrick Lamar, Gangstar, KRS-One. Living legends emphasize messages of verbal skill, internal, external conflicts, life lessons, unity, social issues, or activism. Black female artists such as Queen Latifah, Missy Elliott, and MC Lyte have made great strides since the hip-hop industry first began. By producing music and an image that did not cater to the hypersexualized stereotypes of black women in hip-hop, these women pioneered a revitalized and empowering image of black women in hip-hop. Though many hip-hop artists have embraced the ideals that effectively disenfranchise black female artists, many others choose to employ forms of resistance that counteract these negative portrayals of women in hip-hop and offer a different narrative. These artists seek to expand ways of traditional thinking through different ways of cultural expression. In this effort, they hope to elicit a response to female hip-hop artists not with a misogynist lens but with one that validates women's struggle. While women have been marginalized in hip-hop's music industry, according to whom? Established artists like Missy Elliott, Lil' Kim, and others are providing mentorship for new female MCs. In addition, there is a vibrant scene outside the mainstream that provides an opportunity for women and their music to flourish. Rap music has the power to influence how we view black women in our society. Queen Latifah used her award-winning song UNITY to support to other women and to inform of the presence of women in the hip-hop genre. However, many contemporary females in hip-hop do not embody this mindset and counteract it.